Hey, 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 what's up, y'all? This is your girl, Gina Thompson. And right now you are watching Musicians Reveal with my man, Joe Kelley. Don't you touch nothing. Stay tuned.
Nobody like you. Welcome to another edition of Musicians Reveal. I'm Joe Kelley. Extremely excited tonight because we have a huge platinum selling artist. She has been to the top of the mountain in the music industry. She has a brand new single out, was released on Valentine's Day, originally from New Jersey. We wanted to have her on for a long time. Great to see her back with the new music. Gina Thompson, how you doing?
Oh, I'm super blessed. Thank you so very much for asking and for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good,
Awesome.
ready for the spring weather,
Oh, my
hopefully.
goodness. Say that for me as
Yeah,
well.
you're
Yes.
probably a little
Yeah.
warmer, but it's coming. It's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's like one day I can get out there and walk, and then before you know it, it's just cold again. I'm just so
Yeah.
ready for it. I'm an outdoor person and
Okay.
love to walk outdoors, jog outdoors, just be outdoors when it comes to that, therapy, I call it.
Yeah.
And so when the weather's nice, I'm super excited and just ready for those endorphins that it brings
They're
out of
coming
me.
soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of the news and videos of yourself. You went over to the UK, right?
Yeah, twice
Recently?
actually within the last past 6 months. Yeah, December of last year and February of this year. Yeah, last month.
Or what was going on this last recent trip? I saw you were visiting a few radio stations, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a birthday party for one of the DJs, or there's so many DJs over there, but
Right.
one of my buddies, my friends, his name is Sir Venom. He
Okay.
had a birthday party and wanted to have a few artists come out and celebrate with him from the US. And so myself, along with Yvette Michelle, Ruffins, Changing Faces, Jay Holiday, we all were on the same bill and we celebrated Sir Venom's birthday. And it was so nice because it was also his mother's birthday. So I was like, wow, what a beautiful mother's gift. Mother, a birthday gift for a
Yeah.
mother to have her child. So nevertheless, we were over there celebrating. And while we were there, each of us actually were able to get on the radio station over there and do a few interviews. And so that was nice as well. And definitely in my situation, it helped promote my new music, or
Right.
talk about it at least. Yeah, so it was an amazing trip, I must say. The one in December was as well, but this one definitely was bigger because again, more artists, more things going on, just a bigger event all around, and it was just awesome. Such a great experience.
Currently, do you find the radio stations and outlets over there more acceptable to R&B music and funk music than what we have going on over here as a whole?
I want to say I do, and it does vary because I mean they have their stipulations as well. Um, it all depends on the music. I mean, when I was
Right.
I what I found with my personal experience, and you know what, actually in general, I do see them playing, giving artists, I want to say, more spins with their records, than the US. And for whatever reason that is, I'm just not sure. But I've spoken to a lot of US artists, and they have verbalized that they just seem to get more work over in the UK, more support, more just, everything. It feels like they're just more appreciated. And I would say with my experience, there has been a few scenarios. I mean, I've been to several countries, and for whatever reason, especially when I was out more. I mean, when I first came out, I meant to say, back in '96, around that era, there was just a different um, receptiveness that they gave when it came to being overseas. But there is still love here in the US.
Right.
So yeah, I guess the answer to your question is there is more. There is more of you do get a little bit more of that play over there in the UK.
Did you run into Solar Radio? Have you heard of them out there?
Oh,
I think
no.
it's a network out there, pretty big.
Y-
A friend of mine who's musician here,
mhm.
he's co-hosting a show for like a one-off thing, solar
Okay.
radio. So I saw that. I said, oh, must be pretty big out there. So
Okay, okay, good
yeah,
to know. I'm actually keep my eye out for that because I
yeah,
got some things in the making, that I'm hoping will pop off overseas this summer. So I
right,
definitely will keep that in the making, and it probably will come, to surface with me because the things that I'm anticipating happening, the producers' connections has a lot of great connections with various radio outlets and things along those lines. So
yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to hear more about it.
Got to have that team, Maisha
You're
and
so
all
right.
your folks. Yeah,
You're so
right.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's go back a little ways from your start
Sure.
in the music business. I know we were talking off air. We're both Jersey born, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it was Vineland.
You got it. You
Yeah.
got it. Cumberland County, Vineland, New Jersey, South Jersey. You got it. Right on the nose. Born and raised. Mm-hmm.
What was it like growing up there, and also what was your first taste of like, wow, I want to sing and want to get into music?
Oh, well, being that at that time, growing up, of course, I didn't have anything else to compare to. So, had the love of the family, friends, and good schooling, and went to church. So, I was okay. Very heavy in sports and choirs and school. I was very busy, so I really don't have any complaints about where I was born and raised and or how really. So it was great. It was a blessing. And as far as I'm sorry, you said the second part of the question was, I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, your first you
There you
know,
go.
known reason that you wanted to get into music.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, again, as I was sharing earlier, being that I was brought up like in the church and, sang and, born, it was in such a blessing into a musically inclined family. Um, we sang often, again in the choirs. And so one day, though, one of my brothers, well, who's now my only brother, his name is Chris, he decided that he wanted to see how I sounded in a studio and wanted to just kind of get my voice laid on some tracks. So he had a friend at the time that had a studio in his home basement. And so he decided to take me over there and just kind of lay my vocals down, and it was so beautiful because it was Tracy Spencer's song
Oh yeah.
so
I
long
remember that.
ago. Yeah, yeah. And one of them also was Shanice's song. So it was great just to have that experience. And then after I heard myself, like, wow, on a recording as such, and that was the first time in a studio like that. Like I said, yeah, I sang, but I had never been in a studio. And so just to hear the process and how those things worked, it was absolutely amazing. And my brother did it because, he had said to me for quite some time, like, sis, you have a beautiful voice again. Now mind you, we all sing in our family. There was a family of 8 down to 6 now, but all of us sang. And so um just to have that experience was so amazing for both my brother and myself. And then it was that moment that I just was like, man, I want to do this a little bit more. I'd like to see, what this is about a little bit more. And so one time my mother, myself, and a friend of hers, we had went to you're probably familiar with this, Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there, boardwalk, and it's a very nice place to visit, beach area. And so they had, I don't know if they still have, they had one of those, like, recording studios right on the boardwalk. So long story short, was walking by along with my mother and her friend, and we had noticed that, people were going in there and recording, doing things along those lines. So I was like, let me see if I can go in there and do a little something. So I did just that and just kind of asked them how was their process, et cetera. And you had to select the song. So I was like, oh my gosh, what song do I really know? So I did Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler. And I did it my style though. I just kind of put a little bit of my sound or my style there, if you will.
Right.
But I knew that I always loved that song. And my mother had told me, after I came out, again, people are walking along the boardwalk and stuff. She was like, people were just like standing still, because when you're recording, they play it back and you
Oh,
can hear
wow.
it on the boardwalk.
So
So yeah,
I
she was like, people were like, wow. And I kind of saw for myself, because when I came out of the booth, I did see that there were people out there, and some of them were asking, "Was, oh my gosh, is that you? You sound so beautiful," et cetera, et cetera. So that too was like a great experience, and kind of like a thing where, you know what, I need to probably like really consider this more. And again, singing in talent shows and choirs and things along those lines, and just started hearing that more and more. It was at that moment that I'm like, yeah, I pray and hope this works, and then shortly after that, my brother-in-law at the time knew a Rodney Jerkins.
right.
And so it was a coincidence, but the connection kind of happened. I got introduced to Rodney back in 94. Um, and once he heard me sing, right on the spot, he wanted to sign me. Bam, I signed to his production company. We recorded several songs right in his, pre-production area, his basement. And then his father, who was my acting manager at the time, and also, of course, Rodney's manager, shopped me around at several labels. And it was like, it was amazing how the response was just so much. And so we decided to end up going with Mercury Records, and that's when I signed with them in 95, and then the single came out in 96.
Yeah, right off the bat, I mean, you're hanging with the heavyweights in the business, Puffy and Ronnie Jerk, Craig Mack, and Missy Elliott.
That's
Wow.
so, yeah.
You
Yeah.
probably were like late teens, early 20s then, right?
No, believe it or
Oh,
not, I was my son, I always, this is how I always remember it, because my
okay.
first son was born in 94. I
Okay.
signed with, and I was 20 when I had my first child. So I was about 21 when I
Okay.
got my deal. Yeah, but what happened, you know how they are sometimes with promotion or
Yeah.
write-ups and things along those lines. They kind of,
Subtract.
took me back a few years.
I remember they used to ask Prince how old you are, and they would always subtract like 2 years
Yeah,
off his
yeah.
age. So,
It's notorious.
yeah.
And I still look at, I think, I don't know if it's Wikipedia or if it's something that it has me born in 76. I said, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's right. No complaints, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. So, but that's
So,
that's very common.
so I'm thinking back to when I was like 21, and I
Mhm.
was like, I don't know, I definitely could not handle what seemed like you jumped into. I mean, the talent, everything, but there's so much more going on than talent, the business and everything like that.
Mhm.
What were your parents' thoughts that you were going into the big signing with a record label and all these producers?
Well, the biggest thing with my family was, or my parents was, of course, they were very, very happy, working parents. So, for the most part, they couldn't surround me like I wish they could have, but I've always was, given their blessings. And, the Reverend Fred Jerkins, who is Rodney's father,
Okay.
again, was my acting manager at the time. He kind of talked to my mom, and kind of like shared with her that, I'm going to try to, look out for her as best as I can, given, the totality of everything that's going on. But the Rev also did say to me that in time, you're definitely going to need a manager, but he just wanted to steer me in the beginning the right way, what I
Mhm.
mean, the right way as best as he could. So my family, my parents, gave me their blessings, and, were supportive, and uh always, just said, know that they love me, so it was kind of one of them things, but it wasn't like a hands-on, like Harry Bankinson. I don't even know if I said his name right. All I'm gonna say is Aaliyah's people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Leah's people wasn't hands-on like that, or like Usher's mom or anything like that. But again, I definitely had the blessings of my parents.
Yeah. When you cut the album, you had it all together. Did you know in your heart what the big hit was going to be, or did that was the record company or producer? How did that come about?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So, what a lot of people don't know, and I love actually sharing this part of the story. When Rodney and I first did the record, "The Things You Do,"
Right.
um, that was, we kind of felt that that was going to be either the first single or second. We also thought Nobody Does It Better, which is the name of the album. We
Mm,
thought that that was going to be, so the Things You Do was a single. Nobody Does It Better is the name of the album. We also thought that that was going to be the single because it was a very hot song. So what happened was we were back and forth with the two tracks. And then my A&R at the time, his name is Bruce Carbone, and God bless Mr. C, who has passed away, DJ Mr. C. He was my assistant A&R.
okay.
So with DJ Mr. C having a lot of connections with, or just being, close to Puffy and Biggie and, them, he basically was like, you know what I'm feeling is the things you do. This was Mr. C. He says, maybe what we should do is take this to Puffy and see if he can get us a remix. Now, it wasn't because what Rodney did wasn't hot. It
Right.
just was what Puffy, you know how the industry is. Puffy's smoking at that time.
Yeah.
He got the hits there and he's doing what he's doing. And so Mr. C was like, let me see how, and also Bruce, my A&R, he also had a good relationship with Puffy. I guess they had worked with previous artists, etc. So lo and behold, they took the record to Puffy. Puffy heard it, and right away, and he was like, "I got a great idea for this." So he created the remix along with him and Rodney doing their thing, and then wanted it to have a certain vibe, and I call it similar to like a Total vibe. He just wanted that type of vibe that was happening at that time.
Right.
So myself and 112, what we did was we sat in the studio and we worked on a melody that was hoping that Puffy would like. And as you can hear in the background, 112 also has did some backgrounds for me on the Things You Do.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that that is 112, but it is 112 doing some of the backgrounds. It's around the bridge area.
Okay.
But anyway, we did it with no problem. Puffy liked it instantly, only made a few minor changes, but he absolutely loved, what we came up with. And what he said, but he hears a rapper on this, and he says, I have a perfect person in mind. And again, I'm not questioning anything because this is Puffy. I mean, come on now. So he introduced Missy, and he was like, how do you feel about that scenario? We all were like, go for it. You are making the hits. We're not going to question too much of your decisions. So what happened at that point was Puffy let Missy hear it and explain to her what he wanted to happen. And she even verbalized herself like it was an opportunity that she just didn't want to miss. So she went in on that record like it was her last, you know,
Wow.
like she wasn't gonna rap ever again. And she even verbalized that in one of the interviews that's out there, like, having that opportunity was everything. Now, mind you, Missy was already, doing some things behind the scene. She had been in a group called Sister previously, and but she hadn't had that smash yet.
Right.
So this really did play a big part in breaking, some great things for her, and helping her, move forward. And even though she was already on a rise, like I said, she had been doing things behind the scenes, writing for various artists, even working with Aaliyah and things along those lines. But that he how really was a mark for
Yeah.
her, and as we know, even to this day. And she gives credit to where it's due. She says that that was a big, break for her. And she's very thankful for Puffy and the team for allowing, for giving her that opportunity. And so that's how that came about. And then we put the record out and it was a success.
Yeah. I mean, it was such part. I remember I'm thinking back because, I've been DJing at radio since 82, but I also did parties, mobile parties, all sorts of stuff. And late 90s, around that time, it was mid 90s, it was like a lot of the stuff from movement, the R&B, the current stuff was setting the parties off, the college parties I was doing.
Mhm.
So thanks to you.
Oh, yeah,
I
you're so
remember playing the
welcome.
Things
And
You Do.
thank
That was
you.
great. Yeah, it
Thank
was,
you.
did you, I got a question. In the remix, there's like that bell effect.
Mhm.
It's early in the song. Do you remember how that was made?
I do not like that whole production side, the music of everything. That's Puffy's creation and mindset, and
Oh, okay.
I can't even begin to tell you where he pulled any whatever from. I do know that who was it? Rock the Bells. Drawing a blank here. I'm so sorry.
Run
Um,
DMC.
thank you so very much.
See,
Yeah,
I'm older
I
than you,
know.
so I could pull some of those artists back.
Yeah. So I know that that little tune in there played a significant part in when you quote unquote say the bells.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it
I
was
would
it was
just read in the
amazing.
comments somebody put, and they like that part. They specifically put that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll
Yeah,
ask it.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So the video for the things that you do,
Mhm.
you've got two legends sitting on a park bench. You got Puffy and Biggie right there, and you grooving and everything. Was that in Central Park?
It was.
Okay,
Yes, it
I
was.
thought it must be Central Park. Yeah.
Yep.
How about Biggie? He was just getting his start back then too, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was so unfortunate because we had talked about doing work together. I was super thankful that he came to the video shoot because it was so unexpected. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if I knew Puffy was coming. I don't even remember. I definitely knew Missy was going to be there. I
Okay.
I I wasn't sure. I guess Puffy would have been there because he does speak a little bit, in some parts in the beginning, and then even towards the end, he does his little talking or whatever. But I did not expect Biggie, and then they actually had the whole crew because Little Kim, Little C's, like they were out. They all had supported and came out, but Biggie was actually in the video, and I was so very thankful. Like I'm like, you don't even have to ask. What are we talking about here?
Right.
So that it was a memorable time and moment, and it was just amazing. I was so very thankful. And then again, we like I said, we were supposed to try to collaborate. He told me he was so looking forward to it. He loved the record. And then, oh man, it was just so unfortunate. We
Yeah.
really were looking forward to that. I mean, even my A&R and Mr. C, like we all talked about it. Like we got to get something together here. And then, the unfortunate thing happened.
Yeah, that was a tough time. I'm sure a lot of people would like to take back some of the mistakes that were made. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sad to see the great ones cut short like that. So
You're so right. You're
yeah, and
so
you knew
right.
them. So yeah.
Yeah.
So at that time, I came across. I think Maya introduced you. You were doing a TV show.
Yeah, you did some homework,
Well,
man. I love it.
I wanted to ask. Well, I wanted to compliment you first because,
Thank
in
you.
my opinion, when you get when the songs are more simpler for you, your voice, you could tell you are a real singer. And right, you introed the kind of gospel feel to it before you went into the things you do.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
was amazing. If people, Gina Thompson, just look. What show was that?
That was, I want to say Teen Summit. Oh goodness.
Okay,
I think it was Teen Summit because I think that's the show that Maya did host for a little bit. I think it was Teen Summit. I do
okay,
believe so, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. Someone actually has sent me a copy of it a while back, and I put it on my page. I think I did like flashback Friday or throwback Thursday or something. It was,
yeah,
but nevertheless, I do recall that it was I think it was Teen Summit, but nevertheless, we know it was on BET. How about that? And Maya was the host of the show, and that was amazing. She did the introduction, and let me tell you, I have to share this with you.
mhm.
And I'm jumping ahead a little bit,
No, that's okay.
because you know that myself, along with several other artists, to include Maya, we did Pass the Mic live with DJ
That's Steve
Cassidy.
Chastity, yeah, right.
Yeah, February 9th of 2024. And let me tell you, meeting Maya was absolutely amazing. And I did not know she was such a fan of myself as much as she is. She said, girl, and you still got the vocals. And she just was like, I remember introducing you. And I was like, oh yeah, it was like, oh my goodness. And so it was just so amazing, so amazing to just have that, one-on-one conversation with her and how she brought that back. And she was like, oh my gosh, you and Faith Evans, or I used to remember. She told me I used to remember. I mean, I remember I used to be up in my room imitating you guys riffs and singing, and I was like, oh my gosh, to hear her say that was just truly amazing. And I just thanked her. And she was like, girl, I still love your voice. I said, well, thank you. And I love yours.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
yeah, and to give you major credit because you don't see this a lot. You
Yeah.
were, I mean, there was backing the music, but you were bringing it live, the voice,
Thank you.
you and the
Thank
background
you.
singers. That was, there's a lot of risk involved in that too, right? For TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. But he just try to, you just try to make the best out
right.
of the situation.
At,
Um,
at first, I thought that the guys up front they were staring you down hard. I was like, "This is gonna be a tough crowd," but then you had them going right away. That was funny.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you know what? You encounter that. And even to this day there, you sometimes encounter that, but you got to just remain professional, and you always got to think about, it may not be for everybody,
mhm,
but there's always that one or two that is out there that, is just appreciating, and not to say that they didn't appreciate, but just love what you do. And so I always, when I any show that I have, if there is ever that vibe, I always zone out and think about, those that, do want to see you, or I may find that one in a crowd that is jamming,
right.
and you just zone in on that, or just do what you do, and that's it.
Mhm.
But it can be a little challenging at times. It can be, it's almost like a comedian, going on a stage and no one's laughing at the jokes. It can almost be, similar to that. But you gotta believe in what you're doing and just keep doing it and just doing it.
Yeah, and in the music industry, you meet all sorts of crowds, and you gotta be adept at, like you mentioned, how
Yeah,
to play it, right?
that's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did
Absolutely.
did you do a lot of press, shows other than, what we just talked about for that record?
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Yeah. There was a lot of shows, and then even with the traveling with Missy, like, I mean, you name it. Oh my goodness. I mean, Hype magazine was big, back at that time, I believe.
Mhm.
Word Up, I did, oh my goodness. Even shows, and like I said, even if it was whether I did it for myself or did it with, back up with Missy or with Missy because I toured with her. I mean, even I know you said press, but like we did like Saturday Night Live, we did um Family Matters, we did oh my gosh, there was so much that we did. And then there was so many, again, articles and press release and the Apollo, and the list goes on. It was so much. I Soul Train, there was a lot that I did, and thankful for each and every moment and opportunity.
You're giving us more homework
Oh,
to
okay.
to go on YouTube and check it out, to revisit some
Yeah.
of those scenes. Do you
Mhm.
miss that hectic pace like that?
It's
Or do
like
you
yes and no. Yes and
Mhm.
no. There's aspects that I miss. Um, I wish that I could be touring as much as I did then, because I love being on stage. I love, being able to see the reaction of my fans loving what I do. Not to say that I'm not doing anything now, but I definitely was much busier then. And of course, that just was the industry, how
Yeah,
things were. And
yep.
when you're hot, really, really hot, things like that just happen. So I do miss that aspect of the busyness. There are certain things that I don't miss about, how the business can be. And it's not so much of the busyness, but just,
Mhm.
you still have a vulturous side of that business. There still is a lot of, it's a business, man. It's a
Yeah,
business. That's all I can say. It's a business, and
yeah,
therefore you got to remember, like, we already know,
yeah.
we know how things can be. You just got to be mindful, you got to be careful, you got to have that team around you, you got to have that support, you got to have someone in your circle that is just very supportive of you, because it's emotional roller coaster is what it is as well. So there are, again, things that I do miss about that time frame, and things that I don't.
Mhm.
There are some things that I wish could come back right now with the busyness, but again, don't miss the nonsense though.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a shame because back, 70s, 80s, they would have an artist, a record company, give them a little time to grow, 3, 4 record deal.
Hmm.
But from reading what you had to go through, major label, smash. I mean, I'm just amazed. Smash hit, selling so many units and stuff. It was gold or platinum,
It was gold, but it also was, if you want to do worldwide,
right?
you can say it reached a platinum
Yeah,
status.
cool. You
But
still got the
gold
record
here.
at your house?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
and
that's
you know
cool.
it's funny because you're the first that asked that, and this is the first time that I took my screensaver off, and my I usually I usually have it in the back of my
Oh, okay.
screensaver as
Right,
my
right.
screen. I mean, not screensaver, but as my background. I normally will have that there, but
Oh,
today I
okay.
wanted to kind of match my shirt more,
Oh, okay,
so I
cool.
put this background in. But
You're
yes,
always
I do
thinking
have
of
a
the
plaque.
aesthetics, right?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah, that's cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, but what I was alluding to that going into the second record, you would think the label would just be like, "Wow, we got another money making album coming up." And tell us about because the first single was "Yada Yada," right, with Missy.
Correct. So you are right. So I came off of Electric. I'm sorry. I came off of Mercury Records after the things you do.
Mhm.
They did not put another single out. So I just asked to come off the label. Came off the label, and being that I was talking to Missy a lot, and we were kind of getting closer. We decided to talk to Sylvia Rome, or should I say, she decided to talk to Sylvia Rome to see if there was any room for me at Elektra, and so we were able to make that happen. I signed with Elektra shortly after, being released from Mercury. And then Missy decided to be executive producer, and I was co-executive producer. And we did the album. A lot of great collaborations on there, titled "If You Only Knew." Unfortunately, it was unreleased, the album, but we did release a single from there titled "Yada Yada," written by Eric Roberson.
Okay,
And Missy's on there rapping. And a very similar scenario happened with this second deal, which was so unfortunate. Honestly, I feel like it probably was worse than my first deal. Unfortunately, there were so many circumstances surrounding that it's even very painful, to speak on it. But things happened, and at that point, I just, after Yada Yada came out, and there was no push with it. Um, I decided at that point, because of everything that had happened and that was going on, again, emotional roller coaster, just so much going on, that I'm just going to step
right,
away, and just regain my it almost was went to insane insanity. Like, it was
right.
like, yeah. So I had to step back and just regain myself, my being, me. And again, having one child at the time, just had to step back and take a look at some things, reevaluate. And that is probably one of the best things that I could have ever done for my life and my child.
So it was a blessing that some bad things happened career wise and health wise, mentally and stuff, but
Yeah.
good came from it.
Yeah. I've learned, you know what? One of these things that I say now to myself is, sometimes rejection is protection,
Mm,
so um I no longer question what the good Lord is doing in my life. I just, and I try not to have all these crazy expectations. What I try to do is just move forward with my life, do what I need to do, take care of me and mine, and just have that mentality. And the rest, if it's meant to be, it will happen. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not out and I'm not going to try to work and,
right.
make my product do what it do. But another thing that I tell people is, yeah, no, you sell yourself, but just don't sell yourself out.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I go by. I work very meticulously and diligently, but I'm not going to, sell my soul, and I'm very content with my life, and that's huge. A lot
Mhm.
of people, they're chasing a lot of different things, and looking for love in all the wrong places, or money can't buy love, and you know and I've been on that road, you
Yeah.
know, and there's nothing better than having, contentment, and, and feeling good about it, and what I'm doing for the love of it, to have fun. It's not like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, my life's over. And I feel good that I am in the position that I am in. And I'm very thankful to God, that I have the opportunities that I have, from my nursing profession to the singing and, just like I said, being a mother, being a wife and grandmother. And like, I love what I'm doing, and it's either you like me or you don't. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
You either down with me or you not. And it's okay if you're not, because at the end of the day, I'm good, and that's kind of like the mindset I have. And I feel with that mindset, it just makes this whole process easier. Now, don't get me wrong, I am far from perfect, and I definitely may have some days, but I do that self-check, and I, wheel myself back in, and I say, okay, all right, remember why we're doing this, what we're doing this for, and things along those lines. And it just helps with the anxiety. It helps with, these expectations that you don't even need to have, and all that negative energy. And I realized that, once I, stay on that path, or I'm on that path, things are so much better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and also those are great words from Eugenia, and also the music industry, at least for myself, the artists who are like on pedestals for me that I loved, they pretty much died prematurely in their 50s. I mean, Prince, Michael Jackson, Rick James, Roger Troutman. Well, he was murdered, but it's a tough business, right? As far as
It is. It
longevity,
is.
right?
Yeah, it really, really is. It's and man, you just have to learn how to balance things. And again, the expect it listen, it is not a piece of cake. I'm not even going to begin to make it seem like that. I didn't even have the success that those that you just mentioned. So I can only imagine not the peer pressure, but just what they may have been feeling. Maybe they didn't, but I'm just saying, like, those that are on, like, the Whitney Houstons, on those
Mhm.
much higher, levels of stardom than myself. I can only imagine, because I know what I went through,
Right.
and so I can only imagine. But what I do know is what does work for me, is, like I said, balancing my expectations, managing them, and surrounding myself by certain individuals, and, just setting boundaries, and just have fun with this. Have fun with it. Don't stress it. But it's easier said than done. I do what works for me, and that's what helps me maneuver in what I'm doing now. Like, I'm like, okay, like right now, and I do have another single out, and I'm so very thankful for it. Am I saying, oh my gosh, this has to be the Grammy award winning? No, I'm not doing that, but oh my gosh, millions of people, I hope they have to like it. It would be nice, but
Yeah.
I'm okay if it doesn't happen. But I am going to continue to promote and support it, and do the best that I can, and whatever comes of it. As long as I do what I do, the end result is the end result. And that's just how I really, and like I said, having that mindset, it helps me with anxiety. It helps me, it just, the expectations, just managing them, you know because we
And
know how
speak,
this industry is. And it's
yeah.
harder today. It's, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it's much harder today, you know so yeah.
Speaking of the new single, let's talk about that because it's a great song you released
Thank you.
on Valentine's Day,
Mm,
collaborated with Fonny the Body. I said it right?
you said it.
With the help of Gina. But yeah, putting this together, what was your intention to get together with Fonny? And let's talk about the new music and where people can go to buy it.
Absolutely. So I'll answer that in reverse. You can purchase it or download it, stream it, whatever, save it.
Yeah.
I'm on various platforms, from Spotify, YouTube. It's on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon, Apple, you name it. It's on multiple platforms. So please, if you will, go support it and share if you care. You can, for information about me, you can actually, the platform that I focus primarily on, really, it's the biggest one for me is IG. That is my biggest fan base and my biggest communicator. So I encourage, for those that want to follow me, go to the Real Gina Thompson IG page. You'll see the most updates. You'll see me having fun. You'll see a bunch of stuff. You'll see everything about me. Even if you want like interviews and things along those lines, there is my contact information right on my front page. You can email. There's an email address. There's a phone number for bookings. So right on the front page of my IG page, that information is readily available for you. So now the other part of your question, how did basically Nobody come about, which is again the title of the new song. Um, and this is a decent story as well. So back in August of 2023, I was in London again
Mhm.
for another birthday party, and this show was with myself, Rough Ends, and a couple of other artists. And so, who now is, I call him my brother from another mother, Mr. Woods. And if you're on my page, you see him. He's
Oh
all
yeah,
over
I
the
saw.
page.
He's a tall dude, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is one of the greatest, man. He's
right.
so supportive. But nevertheless, I met him back then. It was my first time. He was a fan first, and so he actually was out there with Sunshine Anderson at a festival, and he saw that I was performing at this club the following day or the day before. So he
Okay.
decided to come on out, him and his partner Kirk. And they both met me, and he shared with me that, can we exchange some information? I have some material that I think you'd be interested in. Long story short, of course, my husband, who is also my manager,
Okay.
um, exchanged informations, etc. By the time we got home, we connected, and he let me hear this song that he wanted and asked me, do I have an interest in it? And so the history of the song, it actually was for a group that he and the producer and named Crazy Figs. Producer's name is Crazy Figs, and the songwriter is Charnel Allen. Shout out to them. And so they had this song for another group. The group, I think, just kind of went their separate ways. And so the song sat, and it was like a 4-year-old plus song. And that was then,
Mm,
back in 2003. I was a 4-year-old song then. So they let me hear it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this song. And if you really listen to it, you can tell it sounds like it's probably structured for more than one person because it's a lot of singing in there,
mhm.
but I loved it so much, and I felt that it was something that I could still work with. I felt it would push me a little bit, but I felt that I could do it. So he was like, well, listen, it's yours if you want it. And I'm like, okay, then. And so I went down, my husband and I went down to record this to track in North Carolina. And that's when I met Crazy Figs and Charnel for the first time. And they're amazing. Charnel even does backgrounds on the song with me as well. And both of them, Crazy Figs and Charnel, are absolutely phenomenal. They're a great team. And so it kind of went from there. I went in the studio, recorded it, and that was that. And mind you, I had recorded it in 2024
Okay.
summer. So it had sat for a minute because we were just trying to hash some things out, handle some things on the business side of things. And then we kind of just, decided to move forward and come to agreement, sooner, or later rather, not sooner, later.
Right.
And then what happened was we ended up putting a song out, and it's getting some good reviews. I'm thankful for all of those who have streamed it, DJs, all of everyone that has gave this record support. I'm so very thankful. It's still growing. I'm looking for it to expand even more in the summer, and just going with the flow with everything, just loving where we're at with everything. And we're promoting it, so
Yeah.
again,
I got to
on
give
all
you're out
platforms.
there busting it. I seen you like, you know, put Gina Thompson in YouTube search, and it's like, okay, you're there, you're there. Hey, I guess that's you got to do it like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And and that's another thing that's different. Well, we didn't really say this, but I'll mention it. The difference between having a major record deal
Mm,
and doing things independently.
right.
You
Oh yeah,
know,
big
it that
difference.
yeah, yeah, you got to promote, because you really, it's a budget, it's a lot of money. So, you try to promote and do things as best as you can as an independent artist. Now, there's independent artists that are with indie record companies, or may have an independent deal, but I myself am doing this all financially myself. So it's more challenging, but you try to do the best that you can. And again, maybe someone out there will like it, pick it up and offer something, maybe not. And I'm okay either way. Again, what's meant for me is for me. But meanwhile, what I'm doing is promoting as best as I can with the help of people like Woods and family, friends, and fans. That's why I say care if you share, and share if you care. Sorry.
Right.
And so I am just again having fun, just having fun with it. And these great interviews are helping as well. And again, DJs like yourself and others,
Mhm.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful. The record could not be heard, without you all and helping spreading the word. So thank you.
Yeah, keep it going. You busy, but you got the support of your family and everything. And
Yeah.
I was thinking something to tie in because my last guest I had on my show was Patrice Rushen, and
Ah,
she was signed to Elektra back in the '80s. And when she
okay.
had the album that had "Forget Me Nots," her huge hit,
Yes,
she was
yes.
telling me she gave the record to the record company. They came back and said, "We don't hear anything." And and that turned out to be her biggest record. So what kind of like what you said, she was already signed to the big label. Her and the musicians on the record put their money together and did their own promotional tour, hitting New York, all the big cities.
You got to do.
Yeah, and the record blew up. And
Yeah.
I don't know if she went back to the record company and said, "Okay, what do you think
Yeah.
now?" But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, you
you
got to
hear a lot of the
believe
same
in you.
stories.
Yeah. You got to believe in you. I tell people, be your biggest fan. You have to believe in you. And I used to be, and I'm so thankful for my husband of 20 plus years. Actually, yesterday was our anniversary.
Hey,
I am
happy
so
anniversary!
thankful.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. So thankful for him because he really had to help me see through that process of stop trying to seek validation or from everyone else. Just because someone closes a door and tells you no doesn't mean it's over. Like you got to know your worth. You got to believe in you, and you got to believe in yourself. Be your biggest fan. Like, and get cocky with it sometimes. Like you have to believe in you. Like don't let no man or woman tell you your worth.
mm,
And he really, really pushed that and had driven that in me. But I had told him like after, when you go through some of the things that a lot of us go through, man, your confidence can be so shattered. It really can be. But my husband was like, let me tell you something. Electra, Mercury, and none of them folks and this and that gave you that gift. That man upstairs gave you that gift.
yeah,
So therefore, you don't have to silence yourself because of what others, didn't do for you. And again, it goes back to one of those things. Some of those rejections could have been protection. You know what I mean? And right now, my path is my path. Yes, I'm this age. I am much older now, but and some people and of course people are going to have their opinions. Girl, bye. I hear some people saying that for real, but no,
right.
I'm like, no, hello. That's just what, and that's just who I am because that's just what I have. And my husband was like, that's the attitude you got to have, and he just really, really pushed that in me. He was like, baby, be your biggest fan. You know what you have. God gave you that gift, not Electra, not Mercury, no one else. I didn't. Your kids didn't. God gave that to you, honey. So do you, and
Yeah,
again, just started adapting that and like and he'll tell you just have fun with it. Have fun with it and don't even harp on the past. You move forward. This is your journey and moving forward. That was part of your journey. Now this is your journey and moving forward. Now go with it. And that's just what it is, you know?
yeah. I hope this summer you can get into some of those package tours. That would be good.
That
with
would be
with the
so
other artists,
amazing.
maybe from the same era that you all blew up with these
Yeah.
platinum selling records. But yeah,
You know
better
what?
than I do.
That is a wish of mine, but like I said, with anything, any step of mine, I'm just asking God to just guide that path for me. And if it's
Right.
meant for me to be on one of them, it most certainly will happen. So and if not, he'll have something else in store for me. And like I said, at the end of the day, I'm here, I'm doing what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. And I'm thankful for all those that support me. I'm even thankful for those that don't.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. So I'm here and just rocking away what I have.
Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on, the Frankie Lyman biopic that, you performed the song, another guy who passed away too soon. But how'd you get involved in that?
So that was a great experience as well. So of course, they were asked about the soundtrack, Missy and Timberland, and they did several tracks, and I was just asked to do the featured song, and I'm like, well, let's go. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure. So I did, and I was hoping that that would have been a single, and you know, nah. I remember actually going to see it in the movie theater,
Oh,
and I
really?
just was
Yeah.
like, wow, just to hear my
That's me.
song, and yeah. So thankful for that. And another good setup for me was I was on the NBA at 50th soundtrack,
Oh, with John
and
John, right?
yeah, with
He
John
did.
John, yeah,
Yeah.
and that was and I'm sure you can hear babyface vocals in the
Mhm.
background there as well. So that was also another great experience. So, and a lot of people don't know about that, but again, when you don't have that promotion, and promotion's everything.
Right.
Marketing and promotion is everything. And, but again, my name's going to be on there even when I'm in the grave. So that's something that I've done, and I'm thankful for that opportunity.
And you were on BET and MTV when they actually played music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Not like today,
There you go.
for the
Mhm.
most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Any off the top of your head, do you have any collaborations you would love to do with some other artists or producers?
I'm a big fan of the singer Joe, and I've always said this. Even when Rodney and I were working on my album, like even he's a true fan of Joe as well. My husband actually just took me for Valentine's Day. We went to see Joe, Eric Benet, and Music Soul Child in DC, and
Wow.
that
Yeah.
was, oh my gosh, amazing, amazing. It was a surprise, but so very thankful. But I am a big fan of the singer Joe, so that would be amazing. And there are others. There definitely are others, but I think the number one person would be if I could, whether he write a song, I might be a little intimidated to
Uh,
sing with him, but but if I could just work with him, that would be so amazing.
is he
I'm
still working
also,
out?
is he working out? You said?
Yeah. He was pretty buff back in the day, right, Joe?
Joe's always, I think he's always been a toned and fit
Okay, that's
individual.
what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and then but we all get a little older, so weight seems to settle in different areas. You know what I mean? So, but I will say, when I saw him at the concert, he looked amazing, such as Eric Benet and music. Everybody looked good. It
Right.
was great. Eric Benet, oh my gosh, though, oh his range is, oh my God, it's amazing, amazing. But I've always been, like I said, Joe's like the number one for me, because it's I love the way he writes. I love his singing, his sound. I love his tone, and he's just always just been a phenomenal artist to me, like all around singer, producer, songwriter, you name it. And he's a beast. He's a beast. As far as females, Brandy.
Oh,
Brandy
okay.
is amazing. Brandy is absolutely amazing. Oh boy, I words can't even begin to exemplify like her vocal acrobatness. Jasmine Sullivan's dope too, but it's something about Brandy. It's something about Brandy. She's just I can't even explain it. It's amazing what she does. Jasmine Sullivan reminds me a lot of Kim Burrell, and I love both of them. Kim Burrell's a gospel singer. I
Right, yep.
absolutely love both of them, and they're at my top, hands down. But it's something about Brandy, like to me, no one compares.
She's based out of California, I think, right?
She is. She
Yeah,
is.
she is, yeah.
Yeah, I hear
No,
that girl's just ridiculous. Kiki
right.
Wyatt's another dope one too. But again, not necessarily, and that's what I said. There are several of them, but if I had to narrow it down to the male, it would be Joe. Female would be Brandy, and if I had to do a group, it would be Rough Ends.
Oh, yeah, those are your guys, right?
Those are my buddies. Yes, and not because they're my buddies, but
Right.
I love the tones. I love how they sound, and they're just amazing individuals. Like I know that I could work with them as well. They're beautiful individuals inside and out.
Where are they from originally?
I want to say the Maryland area, Baltimore, Maryland area.
Oh, okay.
Yep, believe so. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
that you don't have that mid-Atlantic accent.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
notice it in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes. I was gonna ask you also about I heard a song, it was like a stripped down song, Missing You, right? That you did.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a beautiful song.
When I tell you you've done
Yeah.
your homework by far, you've hit me with like yes, and I am so thankful
I'm
and
surprised I
impressed.
can remember it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not the song, but actually all the info. So,
Yeah, so Missing You was now that project right there. You're the first to ever speak on this, so and I'm thankful. Um, that time, um, I did a few tracks, and I was
mhm,
supposed to be with a label, and things just kind of didn't iron out the way that I wish they would have.
right.
So, and nothing personal. It just, at that time I was just like, no, we'll just kind of part ways, if you will. It's funny though, because me and that individual, we have reconnected. We have
Oh,
reconnected,
okay.
and both of us were just going through some times at that time. So we've reconnected, and we actually are doing some things together. So it's great. And you really put me on the spot with this one, but it's all good because this is something that I never talk about. And, I'm usually talking about everything, for the most part, a lot of the things that we've gone over, I'm usually going over those things with others, but
Right.
this is the first for this. So I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, no.
But Missing You, it was We Don't Talk No More, and I'll Get There. Those were three tracks. All three were not done though. None of them were done. So they're incomplete, and they still ended up on the internet. And I really have felt some type of way about that because they're not done.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, um, I actually wrote that song myself, and the producer, did the track. And We Don't Talk No More, like I said, is another one that was on that project. And I'll Get There, and believe it or not, I'll Get There was
Mhm.
probably my favorite out of the three. And the reason that
Okay.
I say that, and if you Google it, it's probably out there. The reason that I say that was my favorite, because it almost had like a pop feel to it, but it wasn't finished. And I remember back then I was like, man, if I could only finish this song. And I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't. So, but yeah, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
But that is out there as
I
well.
dug out there. I dug for you. So, yeah, I
I
love that song. I mean,
appreciate you
and
so
I
much.
said alluded to before, I said to you, like, your voice, the music, your voice transcends the music. I mean,
Thank
just a
you.
beautiful voice. You're still what's the secret to still sounding, great, um, from back in your teens and now at this stage in your life?
Again, you know me, I'm always going to give you that spirituality. Like it's
That's all right.
nobody but God, man. It's nobody but God. Like he's the one that wakes me every day. So, anything that I have, it's a blessing from him,
Right.
and I guess I can also say genetics, I again, as I said earlier on in the interview, that in our conversation, that I was born into a musically inclined family. So my mom and dad, sang, bless their souls. Both of their parents sang. My dad used to be with a band and sang. My mom was on a choir and sang, and both her parents sang. And again, both my paternal grandparents sang, and all my siblings sing. So,
Mhm.
and our kids, is they sing, they do something in music. And so whether it's rap, sing, or something, so music is very, very inclined in the family. Some people don't know that my nephew, he also was out back in the day through Rockefeller, and his name's Young Steph.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, yeah, some people, well, a lot of people, should I say, know who he is, but he is actually my true nephew, my sister's son. And
Mhm.
so he had a song out called titled Juke, Slow Juke In or Juke, and that was with Rockefeller, and that was a few years ago as well. But he's still out there doing his thing, and it's in our family. So again, it's nobody but God.
But you didn't mention your husband being a singer.
I didn't, and he's
I'm just
not.
messing with you. Okay.
And he's not.
Uh, but he's got a lot of other talent, so
But
that's
you
cool.
know what? I
Yeah,
was getting ready to say, but he has a heck of an ear, and
right,
yeah, he can pull out a good track though. He's very, very good in that. Very good in there. He's a very great IT person too.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
man.
that's great to have. You
Yeah,
mentioned
absolutely.
Instagram and everything, yeah.
Hmm.
So before we bid adieu, I wanna remind our viewers and listeners because this is also gonna be heard on all the podcast audio outlets besides YouTube. The single "Nobody," Fanny the Body, and, just go to Instagram, right?
Yeah, yeah. To follow me, to get updates on what's happening with Gina Thompson, go to the Real Gina Thompson IG page. And again, for if you to stream the single "Nobody," it is out on all platforms: Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, SoundCloud, Deezer. I think I said that right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Apple. It's out there. It is most certainly out there. So again,
and
please
buy the
share,
music.
prepare. Yeah.
Yeah, support independent musicians like yourself.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And more music to come. I'm sorry, there will be another single that will be coming out soon.
Oh,
And
okay.
I just won't say when, but just so that fans and people will know that this is not just, oh, she came out with the things you do and went away. Like, my
Right.
intentions is definitely to just continue to keep music coming, and again, for the love of it, for the fun of it, and for those that want to continue to support it, or support me. I'm here, and thank you.
And if later in the year, the duet between you and Joe happens, we'll all be
Listen,
happy, right?
I would tell you what, if so, that will be so amazing,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I've
I
said it
hope
in
it can
so
happen
many.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything.
Yeah. So thanks, Gina
You're welcome.
Thompson. I mean, it's a pleasure to meet you after all these
Likewise.
years, and, we're really happy that you have the new music, and so are all our, listeners and viewers.
Oh, thank you so very much. And let me know if there's anything else that I can support you
Alright.
with.
You gotta come back.
All righty. You
Yeah.
got it.
Alright.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Gina.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Nothing to do.